Automated trend lines are one of SlopeCharts' most exciting and useful features. They're also a tremendous time saver. I have been charting a very long time, and I've reached the point where I pretty much just use automated trend lines as opposed to manually doing them on my own. It's just too prone to error, and it's very time consuming. There's a couple of ways to make use of this helpful feature. One is via the Tools menu. You can see the Auto Trend Line menu item there and the sub-menu with the various choices. But a more complete offering is with the right-click anywhere on the chart. You can go down to the same menu, but you'll notice more items there. And the reason is because of relative reference. When you're on the chart, you're actually pointing to a particular portion of the chart. So you can not just drop from the top or the bottom for the entire chart to lay down a trend line, but you can specifically say everything from the left of the cursor or to the right of the cursor will be the basis for this. Because in your mind's eye, just picture a ruler falling down from the top or coming up from the bottom and coming to rest on two anchor points. That's basically the idea behind the automated trend lines, for it to do that for you. And it can be the entire chart, or it can just be the very specific section that you dictate. So in this instance, I'm going to say, give me the entire chart from the bottom. And this is for Intel. And bang, there's a supporting trend line. And you can tidy this up. You can right-click on the line, and for example, there's a little portion to the left of the leftmost anchor point that I really don't need. There's a little bit of noise, so I'll just say unextend left and zap. It'll go away after I choose this unextend. And I could, of course, extend it again if I wanted to. But the colors are also established automatically, and you'll see a little bit later how you can customize those. Returning to our menu here, we can lay down from the top, and I can change the color here manually if I want. And as before, I can clip off that portion to the left that's really just unnecessary. Now, the other portion here I wanted to show you in terms of its feature is the customization. You can go down to the Customize submenu item, and you can dictate, for example, what's the minimum bars between anchors that you want to require, because when it's laying down these, you want a certain amount of distance between them, and it's fine usually to stay just with the default there. You can also have instant trend lines, which I'll show you a little bit later, and you can also state what color the instant trend lines will be. But more germane here is the above and below trend lines tabs. This is where you can control things like what color will the trend lines dropped from above be, or conversely below. So I tend to use green for below because they suggest support. You can also change the weight, the pattern, the opacity, things of that nature. You can also, incidentally, as I said earlier, dictate portions of the chart, like this section right here where you want the trend line to be drawn. So I could say, instead of the entire chart, simply the portion to the left of where my cursor is. And it would lay down that trend line like so, using those particular anchor points. Now, I did this haphazardly. This isn't a particularly useful trend line, so I'll get rid of that. But the idea here is that there will be times when a subset of the chart, a smaller portion of the chart, will be appropriate for trend lines, even if it's to show prior breakouts and breakdowns. One other item I wanted to show you here has to do with instant trend lines. And what this does when turned on is that it will always apply from the top and the bottom instantaneous trend lines. And here's the important part. It'll do so based on the portion of the chart you're observing. So you can zoom in as tight as you like, and it'll still redraw those trend lines instantly to take into account only the portion of the chart. And you can preserve either the specific trend line or both of the trend lines that are drawn. So if you happen upon a set of instant trend lines that you like, you can choose that menu item and retain them permanently.